YouTube activities during the probation period. Besides a lifetime injunction preventing him from contacting the victim in the case and her family, Myers was ordered to have no contact with Josh This Is a Public Service Gray and Mark Reluctant Prophet Kelly, who essentially served as what some considered to be his mouthpieces during.
He grew up across the tracks from another place that fucking fell apart. Yeah. They tried saying that the pink gunning paralyzer was back. Some guy tried scamming him. I had to sue him, shut his shit down. Somebody in an electric wheelchair riding their wheelchair from Michigan to Washington, D.C. just to get arrested to prove a point. Well, those were my role models.
This is my dad's whip. Yeah, boy. This thing could go 35 miles an hour and it could raise up to 6 feet high. My dad would scream at cars to slow down and then just burn off on them in this thing and fucking race them down the street. Now, there is breaking news in the Lane Myers case. It is a huge update. But first, hey Lane, you remember these cats? As soon as you hear this first note, you're going to remember.
Get money, get money. Get money, get money.
Listen to the first verse.
Hey, yo, my song.
This is how I get juiced up to do my investigations, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to call it the Pima County theme song. But before that, I would like to just pose this question to somebody, just to dwell on while we're listening to the theme song. If those phone calls that were made to whoever, by whoever, were made collect, 1-800-COLLECT, would it make a difference?
This year, 2 niggas call me collect. Who's this? Who's this?
Bob had a baby, it's a boy.
You're a clown! I saw you at a party uptown. Nobody even know you, you just standing around. You're a clown! Don't even try to step out of bounds, cause if you drink and start a fight, nobody holding you down. You're a clown! Looking through the records I found, it takes more than that for you to duplicate this sound. You're a clown! My heat'll lift your feet off the ground. Live niggas throw the bacon in and move it around.
I found the recipe over on Sesame.
Urged his followers to contact her. He doesn't have followers, he has subscribers. This is going to be a theme in the clown show again. But you know who does have followers? And maybe that's why she's so confused.
Urge his followers to contact her.
See, Shannon has 410,000 followers on the LinkedIn page for University of Arizona. And this was put up years before Lane Myers even met her. So how could you possibly say that it was his followers? Because he doesn't have followers. I mean, this would confuse anybody, just that simple fact. Like, dude, bro, it's so bad, dude. It's such a clown show.
And he put it out there and he would encourage his followers to contact her. In which
I mean, even the name LinkedIn is encouraging contact with her.
they did, and they left her harassing messages that also ranged from things like wanting her to be raped and killed. And so these messages kept coming in. He was made aware of these messages. He's indicated.
For the record, she's laying the record down with facts of her own that aren't actual facts. So that can come into play later for the malpractice or whatever, whatever. I mean, it's like every moment in this case, she's like acting like a complaining witness. You know what I mean? Like she's, you know what I'm saying? Like she knows for a fact that these things are true. Not that she's just advocating for the state. You know what I'm saying?
This case arises out of a burglary of some computer equipment from a school in King County, Washington. Respondent was charged with that crime, arrested, and spent a day in jail before the charges against him were dismissed. The petitioner is the deputy prosecuting attorney for the county who prepared the case against respondent. In support of her motion for an arrest warrant, she personally executed an affidavit that summarized the basis for the burglary charge. Unfortunately, in that affidavit, she made two important misstatements. First, after stating that the respondent's fingerprints had been found on the glass partition in the area from which the computer equipment was stolen, she stated that he had never been authorized to enter the premises before, when in fact he had actually worked on the installation of the glass partition on which his fingerprints were found. And secondly, she said that he had been identified by a person in an electronics store who was asked to appraise the stolen equipment when in fact that person had identified someone else. So based on those mistakes, the respondent brought a suit for damages against her, claiming that she had violated his constitutional right to be free from unreasonable seizures. The petitioner defended the case on the ground that as a prosecutor, she was entitled to absolute immunity. The district court and the Court of Appeals rejected the defense, and we granted certiorari to resolve a conflict in the circuits on the basic question. Our cases make it clear that a prosecutor is entitled to absolute immunity when she is acting as an advocate for the state in judicial proceedings. That immunity protected the petitioner in her actions in this case in drafting the various papers that commenced the proceeding and filing those and appearing in court. But the critical question in this particular case is whether that immunity also protected her when she personally swore to the truth of the false statements of fact in the certificate she filed with the court. When, in other words, she was performing the function of a complaining witness rather than that of an advocate. For reasons stated in a unanimous opinion filed with the clerk, we agree with the Court of Appeals that insofar as she acted as such a witness, she was not entitled to absolute immunity, and therefore we affirm the judgment of the Court of Appeals. Justice Scalia has filed a concurring opinion in which Justice Thomas has joined.
I don't even think Fletcher made it through booking, but the fact that he was arrested is what made it misconduct. And 50 days in the county jail, might be some damages. You know what I'm saying? Not just like, I'm going to sue you for damages, but in the fact that you can get this in front of a federal judge and somebody who can actually look at everything. You know what I'm saying? There was never an arrest warrant for Mr. Myers. I did 2 checks, right? And both times they said there was no arrest warrants issued ever for him. This is like watching a hand-socked clown beat a dead horse with another dead horse's hoof. Since Rachel can't find the right words, let's see if this agreement is agreeable or whatever. Having been placed under oath, Lane Jeffrey Myers agrees to plead guilty to the charges of... Okay, so right off the rip it says he engaged in a course of conduct knowingly or intentionally toward Shannon Walker. It didn't say at Shannon Walker or directed at. It says in a course of conduct directed toward Shannon Walker. Okay. So this next thing is this is essentially what they're using as probable cause. Even though it's only supposed to be reasonable cause to believe that there's evidence of harassment, they're still using this judge's issuance of this as their probable cause, which is garbage because, listen, not according to Shannon Walker. What Shannon states as facts are Lane Myers is a defendant in Tucson City Court case that my spouse, Matt Walker, is prosecuting. Then she incorrectly states that he called me. he didn't. He called the work number that was listed, and when he left a message, it was to talk to your crooked ass prosecutor husband. So, again, directed toward Matt Walker. Immediately after that, she explains that he sent an email to her spouse saying that he was going to get the neighbors on the street to vote for Trump because it was a voting year, which happens once every 4 years. After she again mistakenly thinks that what the U of A posted about her is somehow posted by Lane Myers when really the U of A did it, then she goes on to say that he made a statement. He stated that they were working improperly together. Now, again, that's not conduct. That's a statement.
Your Honor, harassment is conduct, not speech.
By her own words.
Your Honor, harassment is conduct, not speech.
So she goes on to say, Mr. Myers concludes the video by saying, if you bother me, I'm going to bother you. That's just speech. Like she said, that's not conduct. Her very next statement says, in this video Lane Myers posted, he states that I was a whatever job. In the comments of the video, he responded to a question by stating blah, 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 whatever he stated. Again, not like she says, that's not harassment. It's speech, It's speech is not harassment. She said it. And after some more lies about posting the information that the Arizona website already posted, she says, he again stated that I was responsible for his wife getting fired and blah, blah, blah. More statements, that are not harassment, like she said.
Harassment is conduct, not speech.
And then the other half of that harassment or whatever is if she actually felt harassed. And when asked if she actually felt harassed, she points right back to the same document that we just proved, or she just proved with her own words, that wasn't harassment.
Many, many times. Thank you.
And the elements for a series of events and why this is harassing and whether or not you actually felt harassed?
In terms of the... Yes, it does.
What are the series of acts?
Well, I believe that is shown in my injunction.
I'm just asking you to walk me through it.
Of course. Would you like to go?
Listen to how stupid this sounds. On October, February, Lane Jeffrey Myers intentionally or knowingly engaged in a course of conduct directed toward Shannon Walker, which would cause Shannon Walker to reasonably fear for their safety or the safety of family in violation. Why would it say there and have Shannon Walker's name? It doesn't make sense, right? Because the statute is meant for somebody who has already victimized somebody and been found guilty in a court of law and is now harassing them some more, right? So it should read, Jeffrey Lane Myers intentionally or knowingly engaged in a course of conduct directed toward Matt Walker, which would have reasonably caused Shannon Walker to reasonably feel fear for their safety, right? Their safety, like the safety of a family member, right? Not Shannon Walker. It would say the victim, and then it would say the family member's name, right? And it caused the victim to fear for their safety. They're replacing the word victim with Shannon Walker. It's retarded. I can't believe they're allowed to do this. And this is where Parvin and everybody else is going fucking crazy, thinking the statute's wrong or whatever. And in fact, it's not, because at that point, if you are convicted of whatever, some kind of domestic violence against a person, and she's already been a victim of yours and you're harassing her, any conduct or any intentional anything directed at her is harassment, right? Which is why it seems overbroad, but it's before a specific type of person, and that is a person who is already a victim of that same criminal person, right? That's why the statute, it seems so overbroad and wrong, because it's being applied incorrectly. You guys are morons. The statute isn't meant for somebody.
And have you ever told him to stop having contact with you?
We've never spoken.
Who has never talked to somebody before, right? It's meant for somebody who has a deep, strong personal relationship and a criminal one, a convicted criminal one with them. Okay, any of you geniuses out there who are going to leave a fucking stupid comment. And the second one right here where it says, the injunction against harassment or any other criminal-related injunction against and in favor of Shannon Walker, or / really what it's supposed to say is the victim. Any of you fucking geniuses tell me why criminal-related can be in the same sentence as a civil injunction against harassment, okay? Let me answer that for you, because you're fucking stupid if you don't believe this. It's because the person is a criminal and has a criminal conviction against this victim, right? That's how a civil injunction against harassment can be criminal related, because the person is already a criminal, which Lane Myers was not and is not. For the first one to be true, it's the same thing. He would still have to have victimized her and been found guilty in a court of law to be a criminal for it to be a criminal related injunction. It's not. That's not what makes it criminal, just because you can charge it under a criminal charge, right? That's not what makes it a criminal-related injunction. You fucking morons.
For her safety, Mr.
Oh, yeah.
Meyer? Okay. Then do you have any other reason why she would fear for her safety?
Because she doesn't understand that she's took an oath under ARS 231.
Taking an oath doesn't mean you have a right to be harassed,
I didn't harass her.
great fear.
It's an allegation of other people did, not me.
So, but sir, if you're promoting them and
I
encouraging
didn't
them.
promote anybody and I didn't encourage them. There's no factual basis for me encouraging them.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Meyer. At this point, I can't take your plea because I have a factual basis, and part of that is that Shannon Walker to reasonably feel for her safety or the safety of her family. And if you can't, and I'm fine with that if you can't do it, so you know.
But I'm just curious if you're asking me to admit to that, because the state even just said that other people don't.
And that you were aware and you continue to post for address and information, and you continue to encourage people.
They posted her address. So I'm confused because I let the state, I said the state could do it, and they refused to do it, and now they're disputing what I did.
Mr. Resin?
I guess the issue is, Judge, what Mr. Meyer...
I'm going to bring up an even bigger issue. I don't think what Mr. Myers signed, if he did sign it on that day, I don't think he read everything, right? And I think I can prove it by these documents right here that we're looking at, okay? So, now, this is, a few of y'all would know this maybe or whatever, but whenever you're in jail, they won't allow you to have certain things. Like, for example, if they are to show you paperwork that is stapled together, they have to remove the staple, right? So I had to screen record this actual timeline, but look where the staples are, right? There's going to be 4 dots in the corners, and I'm going to scroll past them, and we'll notice one that's different. Well, not this one, but okay, see the 4 corners? Kind of the same. Oh, different. And then kind of the same right here. And then I'm going to go back through them, right? But look at the margin. Why would you need to staple these twice, right? Because when you scan it, you would have them all stapled together, right? And then you would unstaple them, hand them to Mr. Myers. Mr. Myers would read them and then agree to it in court. He would sign it, and then it would be stamped and then signed by the proper people and then scanned into the record. Now there's a digital record of it that can be passed around that way without having to restaple it and then unstaple it and then rescan it again. What is the point of that, dude? There's impropriety is the point. One staple. Why would you need to restaple it and then unstaple it and then rescan it again? What would be the point of that? You know what I'm saying? Either we're missing something or he was missing something, right? Or the documents given to us, given to the troll channels were different than the ones Mr. Myers signed. Period, dude. It's the only way that could possibly be. This plea agreement is straight trash. I mean, on top of the fact that we all heard him say there's no factual basis for what the fuck they're saying, right?
And that all of that would have made her fear for her safety, Mr. Meyer? Okay. Then do you have any other reason why she would fear for her safety?
Because she doesn't understand that she's took an oath under ARS 231.
Taking an oath doesn't mean you have a right to be harassed,
I didn't harass her.
great fear.
It's an allegation of other people did, not me.
So, but sir, if you're promoting them and
I
encouraging
didn't
them.
promote anybody and I didn't encourage them. There's no factual basis for me encouraging them.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Meyer. At this point, I can't take your plea because I have a factual basis, and part of that is that Shannon Walker to reasonably feel for her safety or the safety of her family. And if you can't...
Okay, now here's my question, and this is something Mr. Myers should keep to himself, Mr. Myers, if you know this, right? At this exact point when this happened, right, how many pieces of paper did you have in your hand? Because there's 5 that were stapled. My guess is you only had a few of those in your hands. Now, did you see them staple or unstaple them and hand them to you? And was there 5 unstapled in your hand that you handed back to them? Did you hand them back to them? These are all things that only you know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, there's some bullshit going on, because here on one of these, if you look at the one that has the awkward, hingy, weird awkward staple that looked like it got caught on something or whatever. That one also has some serious problems with the font and the layout, which is hilarious that this is being brought back up, right? Now, I'm assuming you definitely had the cover sheet, which is this one, because it had the first one circled because she made you do the factual basis by the number, this one first and then a factual basis for the second one or whatever. So I'm assuming that you had this one at least, right? Okay, fine. But this one I'm telling you, right? This one is fucking weird. Well, first check out these lines, right? Where they're indented on the left side. Look here. You see it says to plead, and then it's like indented or whatever, and then again here on the bottom where it says in addition, you know what I'm saying, right there? See, all the rest of them just line up just right there, you know what I mean? They're not indented at all. Now, when you format these on whatever program, Word, or whatever the fuck you're using, whatever, it spaces them a certain way, right? Look at the space between restitution, period, and the word the up there on C, and then look at the space between rights on the next following to D&E where it says victim rights, waiver of rights. Look how it's almost twice the amount of space, right? That's weird, right? That's not something that it would fuck up on some kind of formatting thing, right? And then even the placement of one, and this whole thing here. Now let's zoom out and look at these lines. First of all, this looks like it doesn't belong and it's fucking crooked. I don't think this was even on here. I think they rescanned it and fucking put that in there. So, I mean, I don't know, dude. It's just what it looks like to me. And then all these signatures look retarded. Even the date thing, dude. You had to scratch out the date. Like, what the fuck?
And I'm fine with that if you can't do it, so you know.
But I'm just curious if you're asking me to admit to that because the state even just said that other people.
And so the state said that it was other people that called, and we just heard Shannon prove to all of us that none of what he did was harassment. So where's the fucking crime? And see, it is bound to happen again because even from the very first arrest and the very first release and the conditions of release, all the judge said was just take all the videos down. Take the videos of the victim. No, take the videos of the victim down. There's no victim. There was no victim then. And again, because, none of this has even happened yet. And even if that was true, it still wouldn't have been a victim because there was not a criminal conviction against her on him. His conditions now are just as vague. The only thing they've added that is clear is don't talk to this is a public service and don't talk to reluctant prophet. You know what I mean? His friends, I guess. So that is insane, dude. Like literally this whole court process in locking him up, taking away all his freedom is just to tell him to not fucking gossip with his friends on the internet. Seriously? That's what it is. Look, even your troll channels, or I'm sorry. Your information pushing fake news channels don't even know what his conditions are.
The court's own lack of specifics, as the court did not specify which videos should come down or what constituted a removal. The handwritten instructions in his supervised probation conditions state the following, quote, remove all videos from streaming services, YouTube, or social media that mention the victim or her family, including identifying information about them, unquote.
That mention the victim. Who mentions? What if they mention in the comments? Just say the name. What if they just say the name, the victim, right, and not even say a name? What if the people don't believe that it's the victim and say her name? You know what I'm saying? It's so much free speech out there that is just. It's all being put on Lane Myers, dude. This is like exactly what the Constitution is all about. And I have it on good authority that you should not impinge on somebody's right to free speech, and not just somebody's, which is super important. But the fact that you're catching everybody else's free speech and impinging on that is the huge issue here. And I have it on good authority that this is wrong. I need to smoke a cigarette and calm down. This shit gets me hype. So, Foshin and Tag. I wanted to show you guys this if I haven't already. I can't remember if I did or not, but after that live for like 7 seconds or whatever, this is what the cop might have seen. I don't know. He was kind of far behind me, but this is the alleyway to my backyard, right? But this is like the one that doesn't have a gate. You know what I mean? This is just like the fence side, or so it seems. So what I did is I made my fence a doggy door. I just thought it would be funny, but if you notice here. It's this creepy mask, and dude, at night it looks like a person is standing there. And then my no trespassing private property sign. And then, of course, the closed circuit camera here on the right, you know what I'm saying? Which you would expect for the non-gate side of somebody's property, right? I just left my camera in the car and did this in broad daylight, but at nighttime this would have looked a little different, you know what I'm saying? But it literally opens all the way up too. Literally, and it's all the same hardware used to mount a gate. You just, you know what I mean? You just do it differently and put the latch on the very bottom. Anyways, I thought it would be funny, dude. Now we're gonna get into the Lane Myers thing, or well, I mean, what is there really to get into? You know what I'm saying? Except what other people are doing, because. And here's what I think about the justice system, right? First of all, those two words next to each other are completely fucking retarded, okay? Secondly, the justice system is a system that has been molded, right? So, and what it does is it is meant to excuse bad police behavior, because in the beginning, warrants were, you needed a warrant to arrest anybody, right? And then the courts started letting cops do these warrantless arrests, and then going to court was basically the court excusing or justifying the warrantless arrest, the cop's warrantless arrest, you know, his reasons for the warrantless arrest, right? And that's how the courts became what they are. It's just a system of making excuses for each other for whatever you do to be legal. And it's going to keep being that way if what the law isn't followed, right? And there is good parts to the law. There is sense in the law, and there's law in the law, you know what I'm saying? And I believe the only way to get to that is to have people like Lane Myers do what he's doing. And you may not believe it. I don't care, like, at this point, right? I just, he needs to, if more, there's not going to be a lot of people like Lane Myers to do this for us, right? To get that deep in the system. And dude, he literally, every single person that's had anything to do with this case has shown their fucking ass, has just pulled their ass out and been like, this is, you know what I mean? This is what I look like. I look like a complete asshat. You know what I'm saying? Every single person, except Riojas, you know what I'm saying? He was, but even in the beginning there for a minute he did, until, you know, Lane checked him, dude, and rightfully so. And that, dude, like, everybody thinks that was like some kind of horrible thing that happened. Like, dude, that is what is supposed to happen. That is a person standing up, knowing the information, knowing the way the law is and what, you know, what's what, standing up and checking a judge, dude. And judges need to check. It all needs to happen like that, dude. You need to be able to cuss. You need to be able to get angry. You need to be able to get mad. You need to be able to move around, and you need to be able to talk shit. And just because it's in a court of law doesn't mean that it's disorderly. It is orderly. It's orderly to act that way in a court of law. You know what I mean? When you're trying to figure something out. And that's the only way to do it.